video, and today we're going to be continuing our game. So this time we're going to be working on the next part of the game, which is killing the humans and getting the points needed to upgrade into this form. This one's going to be a very heavy coded one, so let's just jump right into it. Let's begin off by making the backdrop for this area, because I don't think it would just look like the forest that we spawn in. So I wanted to have it so everybody's, we're gonna have a sign here that's being destroyed by you and you only, as well. You want to be prepared and don't want any more villagers coming into the village, because then there would be too much for you to handle. So that's just going to be a broken sign, and there's nothing on it now because you rubbed it all out. The only hard part is probably going to be having the humans not spawning where the player spawns. I forgot to bring my keyboard with me today. I'm sorry. So now we have the entrance to the village. We'll always have that. There should be a guaranteed human spawn right here, but I haven't made an idle one yet, so we're just gonna have it here just right now. Now we need to put forever if backdrop. We need the backdrop to forever. We need it to forever. Never tell what backdrop is in go. We don't want any places. We don't want any things to spawn. So anyways, now we're gonna figure out how many people it should take. Now it should delete this clone. So since the first backdrop is where you spawn, there should be no clones. We can simply test this by having literally nothing spawn, but once we swap it to the next backdrop, humans can spawn. But we need to limit it. So we're going to get rid of this code. So forever if, so we're just going to put one if, and if that equals 2, we're going to put backdrop number equal to creates clone. And now we're going to get rid of this go to random position, and now we need to figure out where it should spawn. So now we're going to put an if right here, and we're going to just copy this bit of code into it. I'm going to be way more careful than last time, because last time I kind of screwed it up and we lost a lot of code, and I don't want that happening again. Anyways, we're going to put that there, and now we have a pretty good starting basis of they should spawn, but we need to have them spawn in a certain location and not just here. So I think we'll just have it right there. I'm not going to work on a idle animation right now, but we'll just have them go to that position for now. We could have them up here, but I like having it down here so it looks civil. Also, the player is going to be down there instead of usually being up here. We want it to look like it's actually touching the grass. So now we have this human. This human is going to be a guard human, but I'm not going to code guarding in yet, because that will be a lot more code and it would take forever, and it'll probably be this entire video. But let's move on to the first bit of the village. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it in, and we're going to delete these sign blocks because we don't need them. Also, the clone should also delete if anything. So we should I'm gonna make it so if backdrop number is, that should be bigger than 2, it will delete clone instead of equaling 1. So now it should delete the clone in backdrop 3 and 1. So now we need to build like a little bit of a area. So we're gonna build a little house real quick, and no village, but we're not gonna need them right now. I'm going to put down little blocks where villagers will automatically spawn and they will move around. So these little blocks, which is the main focus of where the villagers will spawn, is where they will be spawning. And we're just gonna make a few more, and then we can work on the code for the costume making and for all the switching of the costumes and upgrades, which is amazing. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to have to figure out how to move it to those pieces. But anyways, let's work on to the next bit. So now we're going to go into it. We're going to make a new sprite, and we're going to call this editor or upgrade. We're going to call this the upgrade section, so we got to do this. This is going to be how you upgrade your character into different forms of itself. So we're just going to head back to this, the first ever one we made, and then we're just going to do something simple, very, very simple, just to make sure. The game's going to look a bit janky to begin with, but that's fine. We'll fix it up very soon. So now we got to add nice thick black lines, and this totally will not look like any other video games table for sure. Totally not looking like, I just messed up there. Anyways, we don't need these lines actually. What we do need is subscribers. Yeah, like and subscribe today to submit yourself before we get to 15 subscribers. Dun, 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 dun. Anyways, let's continue. So now we have to see what we need for. So we're going to have to add 3 different upgrades. But right now we only have 1. So that's pretty bad. So now we're going to just make it so we're just going to have one in the middle which changes your costume, which should work, which will look like just this blue blob. I don't know, it'll change over time. But now we need to figure out the power of what the powers of this thing can be. So we're just gonna put the smiley face on for it right now, as that's the first upgrade. This will be the first ever upgrade, so we're just going to put the face of the player. But now we need to figure out how we're going to kill these NPCs, or non-playable characters. So we're going to put forever if, so we're just going to put forever, we're going to have to do this in this one, aren't we? Forever if touching player and key space pressed, delete this clone. So this will guarantee, let me just get rid of this. This will mean that the humans should die when the E button is pressed by them, and they get touched up by, well, the player. But we need to, and then we're gonna put change points. Then so this should have change in the points by 1, and then it deletes the clone. But to make it a little bit more civil, we'll put 5 just to make life a lot easier for the player. But the only reason we're going to do this is because these upgrades are going to cost a lot of money, of points, theoretically. But now we need to figure out how long it should take. But we need something on the inside so you can scout out what you want to do, as there's going to be something that protects the humans, something a bit menacing to the player. A totally original idea, a silver golem. I don't wonder why the silver golem's here. It's just a golem made out of silver, and we're gonna make him a little bit menacing to the player. So we want the golem to be the most menacing for the player, but it's not gonna be this big. I just like making things bigger for their sample size. So now we need to make it so, but this one's gonna look very irony and silver, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, we need it to look very robotic, and we need its chest to look a little bit strong than just that. So we'll come back to making the silver golem, but we should probably work on how it's coding. So if forever green flag clicked, touching player broadcast, so we're going to want to make a new variable called dead. By the way, I got my keyword now, so change dead by 1, and then always we're gonna go into the backdrop real quick, and we're gonna make a block called reset. But also, this is how we're gonna test our code real quick. So let's see if. So we do have our animations, but I forgot to add the movement code, which is very silly. So we're just gonna put it with this bit, and it's gonna have change x by x. So now it's a very laggy version, so we're just gonna do a nice little switch up of the code, and the animation goes first, and then we're gonna put that there, which it doesn't look the fastest, so we're gonna put it into a new forever loop, which will be the movement. So forever, there we go, and now we go. Now we have our movement, but we have a problem. Every time we move forward, it's fine, but when we're moving backwards, we don't go back. So we'll work on the animation again, but not this episode. But so basically, I'll cut back to when I've polished up this code, and all the other things that will be needed for the code. So I'll be right back. All that stuff up, might see some new code. We've got the movement. We got the movement set up and everything else set up. Let me just turn off the death counter, just so you don't see that. So now I'm gonna just say we've done pretty well for this episode, and I think we can start but I think we need to set everything back to 0, so you at least don't spawn in absolutely screwed. So, or overly upgraded and all that. Now we also need to put the player back in the original position, so let's just go. So we're just going to put a quick green flag and then go to 11. Now we're just going to put what the amount is, Negative 75. And that should conclude how this thing works. I just want to make sure it's guaranteed to start on this one, so we're just going to put and this, but the only problem is we need to put one green flag clicked, reset, so then everything's guaranteed to be back to normal. But we just need to see if there's one more thing we could do, which is going to be in the next episode, where it's going to be a way more code heavy episode and a lot more code will be done. But this one was just so we can start our first code heavy episode. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and goodbye. Also, remember to like and subscribe.